All right, this is the very first, it's the very first episode of Coffee and Keys. I'm going to hold every Friday at 7 o'clock. I'm going to actually hold a Coffee and Keys episode where we're going to talk about real estate and how to break out of the 401, well, not the 401, kind of the W-2 and be financially free. And so I'm going to go over a little overview of things and to try to, today's tax day, April 15th. We're going to go over some taxes and the big tax break of stuff. So let me just start off here and show you something here. So the big concept of everything is actually the foundation that and I'm going to show you. I'm going to actually share my screen here. See if I can get this right on the first time. So on the screen here, as you can see, you see two men sitting. This is a famous painting from it used to hang in the Louvre. Apparently, a private vendor actually bought it. And what it is, you have a guy sitting across, which would be on your right. He has sold his soul to Satan. Satan's sitting on his left. And you see the angel very depressed, looking like he's feeling sorry for the guy. And the depiction of the painting is called Checkmate. He has no more moves left. But apparently there's this chess master called, and this is the rumor, that guy now named Paul Morby. Paul Morby was a chess master. And he said, hey, the king has one more move. Now, if you know anything about chess, yeah, you can have one more move. But however, if that place isn't attacked, you're basically kind of done. You're over. But my thought was, when I looked at this and I knew about the history of it, one more move isn't going to be free. I believe in God, so I would say that, he still has that redemption period that he can probably get out of it. But in real life, that one more move, it's not looking good for him. So he does look defeated. The board looks completely finished. And the assumption is the game is over. But however, in reality, the real issue of this isn't the position. It's the man that he believes that he has only one move left. And that's the trap right there. And let me explain how this becomes a, how this painting can actually, be a real life scenario. So let me stop sharing this here. So in of course the painting, the guy feels like it's his perception of that he doesn't feel like he has anything left, that he's, quite frankly, he's done, he's over. But in reality, he has actually several more moves. In reality, we all have several more moves. And I'm going to explain this to you. So what it is, I'm trying to get my screen because I can't see myself. And probably first time going live. But so anyway, there we go. So the man, you put him as a W-2 worker. It looks like he has one job, one paycheck, one tax exposure, and he believes he only has one strategy, one move. And the devil in this is the system: taxes, inflation, debt, lack of control. And just like your tax content points out, the system isn't broken. It's just not made for you. And it's just not designed for one move players. So what if the man in the picture had one more move? Not on the chessboard, but in real life. So what if he had 5 moves with a tax advantage? So now we combine your framework into something a few people actually articulate clearly. So the first move, if we were talking about real estate and being financially free, it's actually looking at cash flow. Cash flow is something that you get back every month. It'll cover your lifestyle expenses. It reduces the dependence on a single income job. Job stands for just over broke, by the way. And you're no longer desperate on the board. You actually have one move. The next move is appreciation. Appreciation, you don't have to do anything. It's just market growth. Your house that you buy actually increases in time. Wealth builds quietly. Time becomes your ally. and you just sit there and wait. You're sleeping. You sleep well at night. You're not stressed about anything because you know your property is actually growing. So time becomes your ally. And this one's huge. This is what we're here today. Tax appreciation, tax strategy. From your tax day, you have a couple things here. You have depreciation. Now, I'm not a CPA, but I benefit from these, and so does everybody else. So in the IRS, the code, I think it's 167168, I believe. Check with the tax guy. You get depreciation. So over the next 27 years, I don't know why they picked 27 years, your property depreciates because they say it's wearing down. So you get a tax break for it. The other one is cost seg plus bonus. What that is, like all the equipment you have in there or equipment that you have used within that place, your stove, your refrigerator, or if you had like say a landscaping business, your bulldozers, it's all equipment that's used in there to actually increase your taxes. And then your expense deductions. So if you become a real estate professional, I write off mileage. I write off other things. Or when you're actually rehabbing, you're actually writing everything else off. You're writing off, the rehab of the house, the cost, the labor that went into it, and all the stuff that has to do with getting the property ready to make it livable and to rent out. And then there's mortgage interest. You actually get to write your interest off. Think of that. You're not right. You can't do that on your regular home. And then if you actually try to get into where you get bigger apartments, such as a bigger place, like apartments, you can 1031 exchange it. 1031 exchange means a like property or greater. So you can't go from a single to apartment. They have to be similar. So if it's an apartment to a bigger apartment, like a 5-unit to a 10-unit, you might consider doing that. Okay. And this is a lot of moves that people don't know about. And what's really happening here is the government's telling you, they're giving you permission, they're actually enticing you, please buy property, improve it, we're going to give you a tax break. We're telling you to do this. We're going to help you out to be successful. Okay? Next one is amortization. Why there's good debt, there's bad debt. And bad debt is when you're taking debt out and you're not making money on it. Good debt, I put it on an investment property, tenants pay it down. They build the equity. You got equity coming in, right? You've got the pay down of the mortgage. So now your property, you owe less on it. This automatically gets built in and it's progress towards making money. Now, if you go back to the taxes, instead of the guy in the picture, guy in the painting, having only one move, I've gone through what? This is the 4th move. And within each move, there's about 3 moves. I know the tax one, there's 5 different codes you can use to get you better off. And then in this one, equity, there's 2. You're burning it down. You're writing off the interest, and you got appreciation on the property as time goes on. So the next one is forced appreciation. This is where you create. I don't ever say forced appreciation. What I actually say is, I said you're printing money. What does that mean? Well, let's say you buy a property for $150,000. You put $50,000 into it. Now it's worth $250,000. You've just created $50,000. For most people in a W-2, you created $50,000 about 4 to 6 month period. It takes somebody 12 months of showing up to a W-2 job to make $50,000. And you don't even get the tax write-off. That makes $50,000, and they still take. And the other way, the W-2, they take 38% of that money out of your paycheck, and the rest has to come from what? Whatever 38% they took from that $50,000. You still got to pay your housing, still got to pay your car, still got to do a lot of stuff, right? That comes out of all that. This is where you can flip the board on them, flip the board on your opponents. Okay, and this is the big shift. This is the complete big shift on each 5 of those things. So when we translate the W-2 employee is a fragile 1 move and only 1 income. The investor, the simple investor, gets 5 moves with about 3 to 5 other things that they can write off or they can make money on in those 5 moves. Now, We'll get to it later. And as we progress every week, we'll talk about the strategic investor that has a little bit of idea about tax knowledge, has an idea how money flows. You're going to have more than 5 moves. You're going to have more than 5 income streams coming in that'll make you financially free. And you can be dominant. So with this being said, in the next few weeks, I'm also going to be holding in person in Lake Orion here, where we can actually go through case studies. Case studies will actually take a property off the MLS or an actual property, look at it, right? We'll actually look at the property, try to figure out what the rehab costs are going to be, and we're actually going to try to walk through each one of these. We might even take one that I had before or somebody else has had before, and we walk through it, the good and the bad. We're not just going to sit there and sugarcoat everything. We're actually say, well, this is good, this is bad. That's how you learn. And we could, and then on top of that, we're going to also show how we can actually find property to actually do this. So we're trying to build a community here where actually people are actively trying to become an investor or somehow get involved in becoming an investor, and try to break out of that W-2 chain. And that doesn't mean you're going to quit your job in the next week or so or the next month, but at least start to kind of work with people that are like-minded individuals who want to come together and do stuff. Anyway, this is my very first event. I'm excited to help anybody out who wants to do this. Holy crap, I got people in the chat. So, oh, nice. And then, but anyway, what was I going to say? It got me off track, but I think this is going to be something that we can actually do. We can do this live event. We can actually have people come in, and somehow we got to get more people on here better than a Zoom. And we can start looking at doing case studies and actually understand how money isn't real and how we can use the flow of money that can run through all of us and actually start building our portfolio. You know, you don't have to be a billionaire. You could be 100,000-aire. I mean, everybody's definition of financially free is different. For me, recently, I was able to book a fishing trip. I was never able to do that in my W-2 ever. I could not just plan it like that. I just said, oh, I'm going. That's financially free to me. I don't have to live in the big house on the hill yet, but that's kind of like what I plan on doing. So anyway, if anybody got any questions, quick type in the chat. And then every Wednesday we'll come here with something. If anybody wants to hear of anything that I want to go over, please feel free to reach out to me. And I think next week, I don't know what I'm going to do, but we're going to do something. But it's all going to be about the 5 concepts that I've talked about before: cash flow, appreciation, tax strategies, right? Amortization, in other words, what is good debt versus bad debt? And I can't remember the last one, but anything like that with real estate. So I hope everybody's doing well. Please send me your questions or what you want to see coming out of this. And I'll see you next week. Thanks, everybody.